Our hero survived his first nightmare, but things just got real. Welcome back to Manhwa Novel Recap, where monster battles, hidden clues, and unexpected allies await. Smash that like button to level up your bravery, and subscribe, because facing these monsters solo isn't recommended. Ready for more? Let's jump straight into the story. His smile froze. Hiro, the noble soldier, finally admitted it. He was going to kill Sunny in his sleep. His excuse? To spare him suffering. Oh, the gall. As if a quick, silent death at the hands of someone you thought was your ally isn't suffering enough. Rule E1, never trust comfort. Comfort kills. Sunny just laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. And honestly, who could blame him? Hiro tried to sell this as some necessary evil, a heavy burden of duty. But Sunny cut right through that flimsy excuse like a hot knife through butter. He called it out for what it was, the convenient hypocrisy of someone planning murder. Just say it, he spat. I'm going to kill you because it's easy. I'm going to kill you because I want to survive. That's the raw, unvarnished truth of the nightmare. No flowery words, no noble pretenses, just the brutal calculus of existence. Hiro still tried to justify it, claiming Sunny's scent of blood would attract the beast. As if letting him go and becoming someone else's problem wasn't an option. But no, this self-proclaimed hero had to play the savior, even as he was preparing to commit murder. And this is where Sunny's transformation truly solidified. He admitted that, initially, he was ready to die. In this brutal new world, and the one he left behind, no one would mourn him. A chilling thought, one that resonates deep in the core of any survivor. But then, something shifted. A dark resolve hardened his spirit. I must survive no matter what, he declared. And his motivation? Not some grand purpose, not to live a life worth remembering, as Hiro mused. No, Sunny's grin was pure malice. To spite you all. That is a prime motivator, folks. Spite. It fuels the desperate, it sharpens the mind. Hiro, bless his naive heart, actually accepted that answer. He thought he had the upper hand, rising to his feet, promising to make it quick. He even had the audacity to say, I doubt that, when Sunny suggested he might be the one to die. Classic overconfidence. You love to see it. Because in the very next second, Hiro staggered. He dropped to one knee, vomited blood, his face a deathly pale canvas of shock. And Sunny? A satisfied smile. Finally. Oh, the layers, the absolute chef's kiss of this moment. Hiro was dumbfounded, asking if Sunny had put some shadow god curse on them. And Sunny, with a shrug, delivered the ultimate face-slapping reveal. I poisoned you all. This wasn't some OP ability or a sudden cheat skill. This was pure, unadulterated, long-term tactical thinking. While gathering water, when he was still technically their slave, Sunny had squeezed bloodbane juice into every single flagon except his own. Just enough to be undetectable, but enough to slowly kill. He had predicted their betrayal. He knew their true nature. Every step could be fatal, and Sunny had been laying traps since day one. He explained how Shifty drank the most and withered fastest, how Scholar was next in line. And Hiro? He was a tough nut to crack. The poison took longer to affect him. It's a testament to Sunny's foresight that he planned for the worst-case scenario, even when he had no reason to believe these people would turn on him so quickly. Hiro finally understood, but then he asked the critical question, But back then you didn't know that we will turn on you. And Sunny's response? Cold, hard truth. Shifty was a killer for boots, Scholar a wolf in sheep's clothing. People are selfish and cruel in the best of situations. Was I supposed to believe that those two weren't going to do something terrible to me when faced with certain death? This is survival stripped to the bone. You can't afford to be sentimental. You can't afford to trust. And then, Sunny delivered the crushing blow to Hiro's perceived nobility. There is nothing more pathetic than a slave who begins to trust his slaver. Ouch. That's a truth bomb that just shatters the last vestiges of Hiro's self-deception. But just when you think Sunny has won, just when you think this long-con poison plot is paid off, Hiro laughs. He looks at Sunny, and suddenly, it doesn't look so sick anymore. That plan would have worked if I was a normal human. But, Alas, my soul core has awakened long ago. I've slain countless enemies and absorbed their power. Blood-bane poison, unpleasant as it might be, can never kill me. Crap. That's the sound of the tables turning, folks. Sunny's carefully laid plans, his long-term gamble, just hit a wall. He tried to run, but an awakened being? There's no outrunning that. He was smashed into the cave wall, felt a piercing pain, and barely scrambled out into the night. Hero, wiping the blood from his face, was still committed to his noble murder. He unsheathed his sword, asking for last words. But Sunny didn't speak. Instead, he pulled out a small silver bell. Where did he hide that thing? A hidden resource, a last-ditch effort. He shook it, and a clear, enchanting melody flowed over the mountain. Hero was bewildered, demanding he stop. Sunny did, and the bell disappeared. What did you just do? Hero demanded. But Sunny said nothing. He wasn't even breathing. He was staring, not at Hero, but into the darkness behind him. What was that bell? What did it summon? And what exactly is lurking in the shadows that has even Sunny, the cynical survivor, utterly speechless? His last desperate gambit. Sunny had nothing left. The bloodbane poison, his secret weapon, was a dud. His dark sight? Useless against Hero, who somehow saw everything without light. But our MC had one final hidden ace. He knew Hero was blind, and Hero didn't know he knew. Talk about a power imbalance! So, Sunny did the only thing he could. He rang that silver bell, its chime meant to carry for miles. He needed a distraction, a monster. And what better monster than the Mountain King? As Hero's confusion curdled into rage, demanding answers Sunny couldn't give, the air itself seemed to thicken. And then, the colossal shadow appeared. It was too late for Hero. A massive, bone-clawed hand erupted from the darkness, snatching the young soldier like a rag doll. His sword barely bit into the monster's wrist before he was dragged into the abyss, a desperate scream tearing the night. Sunny, ever the pragmatist, turned his back and ran. Sorry, Hero, he probably thought. Said I'd watch you die, but you know I'm a liar. Classic Sunny move. Up, up, up he went, scaling the jagged, wind-swept mountain. Our boy was a wreck, bleeding, bruised, shivering, and practically hallucinating. He just wanted to lie down and let the cold take him. But something drove him, the belief that the nightmare would end at the peak. And what did he find? A magnificent, ruined temple carved from black marble. A palace of a dark god, now shattered. He stumbled towards it, thoughts muddled, ribs screaming, blood on his lips. I made it, Hero, he muttered, forgetting his tormentor was already monster chow. You were strong, I was weak. Now you're dead, and I'm alive. Funny, isn't it? Oh, Sunny. Always the survivor, always the one to remind you that true viciousness is learned on the receiving end. As he dragged himself up the temple steps, thousands of bones crunching underfoot, something extraordinary happened. The temple's invisible guardians, ancient and sorrowful, approached, ready to snuff out the spark of life. But they stopped. They sensed it. A faint, strangely familiar scent from Sunny's very soul, the scent of divinity. To understand, one must look deeper. What kind of power could grant such a mark? He collapsed onto a pristine altar inside the ruined hall, just wanting to sleep. But the nightmare wasn't done with him yet. The Mountain King, that ugly, blind bastard, had followed, its 5 unseeing eyes fixed on him, maw drooling. This was it. And then the spell resonated. Not just a whisper, but a voice in the very fabric of reality. You have offered yourself as a sacrifice to the gods. Wait, what? Our MC just wanted a nap. The gods are dead and cannot hear you. A chilling revelation right there. History is written in scars and shadows, and the history of this world screams of forgotten deities. Yu's soul bears the mark of divinity. Ah, there it is. The reason the guardians let him pass. This isn't the first time the spell has chosen such prey. You are a temple slave. A new class? A new burden? Each class holds its own burden and its own curse. Shadow God stirs in his eternal slumber. So, the gods are dead, but this one is just napping? The nightmare remembers all. He sends a blessing from beyond the grave. Child of shadows, receive your blessing. And then, pure OP ability. Tendrils of darkness surged from the shadows, ensnaring the Mountain King. The tyrant, that massive, terrifying creature, was torn apart as if it were paper. Blood, guts, and limbs rained down. Instant face-slapping. Just like that, the monster was gone. The spell whispered again. "You have slain an awakened tyrant, Mountain King. Wake up, Sunless. Your nightmare is over. Prepare for appraisal, Sunless. A new name, a new beginning. What kind of power has he truly inherited as a child of shadows, a temple slave? What secrets does the stirring shadow god hold, and what exactly does appraisal mean for our new MC? Prepare for appraisal." That's the voice of the nightmare spell itself, a cosmic AI, a universe-sized neural network that just processed Sunny's entire first nightmare run. And let me tell you, the system loves him. Why? Because our boy, the ultimate survivalist, just pulled off a god-tier performance. But even before the final score comes in, the spell drops a pre-appraisal bonus, a memory, the puppeteer's shroud. Not just any memory, folks. This thing is awakened rank. Remember that Mountain King, the awakened tyrant our MC just outmaneuvered? This memory is his. This is like finding a top-tier legendary loot drop in the tutorial zone. An instant golden finger upgrade. This isn't just luck. This is the universe saying, "You earned this cheat code, kid." Then the full appraisal hits. The spell lays out Sunny's rap sheet, a dormant beast, 3 dormant humans, an awakened human, that's Oro of the Nine, by the way, the guy who tried to double-cross him, and finally, the big one, the awakened tyrant, Mountain King. He wasn't just surviving, he was hunting. He wasn't just fighting, he was eliminating. The spell declares his performance glorious. But here's the kicker, the line that truly defines our MC. Your treachery truly knows no bounds. That's not an insult, folks. That's a badge of honor in the survival game. Because sometimes treachery is the only way you walk out alive. Sometimes you gotta be the villain in someone else's story to ensure you have a story at all. And for his efforts, the rewards keep piling up. First, a true name, lost from light. A true name. This is almost mythical. Not even all the saints, the absolute peak of human power in the dream realm, possess a true name. This isn't just about power, it's about destiny. It's about being one of the chosen few. Sunny immediately starts calculating the financial gains, the status, resource management, even in a void. Love to see it. But then, the final, jaw-dropping reveal. His aspect, his core identity in the spell, the dormant aspect temple slave, begins to evolve. And it doesn't just go to awakened, or ascended, or even transcendent. No. The spell announces, aspect rank divine. Divine. Sunny literally falls over. Because he just broke the game. Forget OP. Forget a cheat skill. He just got an aspect that, by all accounts, shouldn't even exist for a human. Humans are still struggling to conquer the third nightmare, to evolve their cores to transcendent. Divine is a rank of myths, of legends, of dead gods. He has something that puts him on a level no living human has ever reached. But here's where the survival analyst in me gets twitchy. Because nothing this good comes without a catch. And the catch is right there in the aspect description, Shadow Slave, and its innate ability, Shadowbound. Find a worthy master, let them know your true name, they recite it, and you are bound to their will, unable to disobey. Sunny's immediate reaction? A smug smirk. He thinks, no problem, I'll just keep my true name a secret, no one will know. I'll get all the divine benefits, none of the slavery. Oh, Sunny. Ruly one, never trust comfort. Comfort kills. And the spell, that cosmic AI, doesn't bother to laugh. Instead, it drops the final bombshell. The first seal is broken. Awakening dormant powers. He thinks he's outsmarted the system. But the system is already playing three-dimensional chess. What dormant powers are awakening? And what happens when a divine shadow slave has a broken seal, regardless of whether its chosen master knows its true name? Is Sunny truly in control of this power? Or is this power about to control him? Felt something waking inside him, a strange, profound energy radiating from his very core. This wasn't some external boon, oh no. This was an internal reawakening, as if the ancient, dormant power within Sunny was finally answering the call of the first nightmare. His body rebuilt, his spirit tempered. Our boy wasn't just surviving anymore, he was being reborn. A literal glow-up, courtesy of the spell. But then, the twist. His vision doubled, and he saw it, his sea of soul. Now, according to the lore, this place should be a blinding, vibrant expanse, illuminated by a blazing soul core. But Sunny's? It was a void, a silent, dark sea under a lonely, black sun. And that, my friends, is not normal, not even a little bit. This isn't the first time the spell has chosen such prey, a soul that resonates with the deepest shadows. And those shapeless forms lurking just beyond his sight, refusing to be seen, the nightmare remembers all, and it certainly remembers those who walk a path less traveled. Then, the spell hit him with the big one, the awakening aspect ability confirmation. Sunny, ever the pragmatist, was already calculating his future role, frontline warrior, glass cannon sorcerer, or perhaps a rare, coveted healer. What would his aspect ability be? Well, the runes didn't disappoint. His name was now Sunless. His true name? Lost from light. Chilling, isn't it? As if his very essence was severed from the warmth of the world, destined for something else entirely. But the real jaw-dropper? His soul core wasn't a soul core at all. It was a shadow core, dormant. And he wasn't collecting soul shards to evolve. He was gathering shadow fragments, 12 of them already, somehow acquired during his harrowing first nightmare experience. This, folks, is beyond a cheat skill. This is a fundamental rewrite of the progression system. Our MC isn't just OP, he's playing a different game entirely, completely self-sufficient and free from the brutal scramble for resources that plagues most awakened. It's the ultimate golden finger, written in the very fabric of his being. And speaking of his being, his attributes read like an ancient prophecy, fated, mark of divinity, and perhaps the most intriguing, child of shadows. History is written in scars and shadows, and Sunny's are just beginning to form. His aspect? Shadow slave, and its rank? Divine. A divine aspect, right out of the gate. This is insane. His first aspect ability, Shadow Control, offers a vague but tantalizing description. Your shadow is more independent than most. It is an invaluable helper. An independent shadow, an invaluable helper. Think of the implications. A shadow that acts on its own. A silent, loyal companion, or perhaps a literal slave to his will. A reflection of his aspect itself? But, as we all know, power always comes with a price. And just as Sunny was trying to wrap his head around his newfound, utterly broken status, the spell delivered the final blow. You have received a flaw. His horror was palpable. What kind of curse could possibly be attached to such an unimaginably powerful, unique existence? What do you, the lore keepers of this nightmarescape, think Sunny's terrible flaw will be? He closed his eyes, then opened them again, praying those glowing runes would just vanish. But they didn't. They were still there, mocking him, laying out his new, horrific reality in just 3 simple words. Flaw, clear conscience. Flaw description. You cannot lie. This isn't some minor debuff, folks. This is a death sentence for a guy like Sunny. His entire life, his survival, has been predicated on his ability to deceive, to outsmart, to weave a narrative that keeps him alive. The spell itself had congratulated him on his treachery. Now, suddenly, his primary survival tool has been ripped away. This is like telling a deep-sea diver he can't hold his breath. Every step could be fatal. And the worst part? His true name. How is he supposed to hide his most critical secret if he can't lie? Imagine the nightmare scenario. Anyone could turn him into an obedient slave with a few innocent questions. This isn't just a social handicap, it's an OP ability for everyone else to exploit him. His odds? Slim. Then, just as he was about to unleash a torrent of curses, the spell yanked him back to reality. He opened his eyes to the armored ceiling of a police station vault. Safety. Familiarity. No monsters, no slavers, no constant fear of a torturous death. And the pain? Gone. His feet, wrists, back, broken ribs, all healed. The cold, the agony, all of it vanished. This is survival stripped to the bone. He'd made it. He'd actually survived his first nightmare. A massive win, right? A full health bar ready to go. But rule A1, never trust comfort. Comfort kills. Because sitting beside his bed was the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen. Short, raven black hair, icy blue eyes, flawless, snow-white skin. And then he saw the shoulder insignia, 3 stars. An ascended, a master, someone who could flick him into next week without breaking a sweat. And what's the first thing out of his mouth when she asks what he's looking at? Not some smooth, quick-witted lie, not even a hesitant stammer. No, thanks to his shiny new flaw, what he actually said was, "Your breasts." Folks, that was a high-risk move, but in this case it wasn't a choice, it was a mandatory truth bomb. The immediate result? A face slap that probably rocked his entire genetic lineage. If not for the restraints, he'd have been launched across the room. This isn't just embarrassing, it's a terrifying demonstration of how utterly exposed he is. Every social interaction is now a potential minefield. He can't afford to waste a single breath trying to navigate this with charm, because charm is now a foreign concept to him. Master Jet, the Ascended, then drops some wisdom. Don't just say anything that comes to your mind. Irony much? And what does Sunny think he's going to say? Thank you. I definitely will not. What actually comes out? I've seen plenty, but no one as beautiful as you. This kid is a walking, talking, truth-telling disaster. Yet, somehow, Jet laughs. And then she drops some more crucial intel about the world, how awakened bodies get rid of imperfections, how she's below average. By their standards, yeah, right, lady, and the hierarchy of the spellbound, sleepers, awakened, ascended. Or masters, and the godlike saints or transcendent. This is vital context for the power dynamics he's just stepped into. Jet reveals she's been on watch duty for him, a master monitoring a sleeper. Sunny, despite his truth-spewing mouth, still has his tactical brain engaged. He asks the obvious, isn't that beneath her pay grade? She confirms the grim reality, lots of gates opening, most local awakened are wounded, occupied, or dead. Government work for a master is thankless, dangerous, and low-paying. Then, the final, glorious truth bomb from Sunny. Jet asks if he'd abandon wealth and fame for duty and altruism. He wants to say something flattering. What comes out? A smirk and, of course not. I'm not an idiot. You'd expect another slap, right? But Jet smiles. See, I was right. You really are smart. What just happened there? Did his honesty, however brutal, somehow resonate with her? Or is this just the beginning of a whole new layer of social torture for our poor, truth-bound MC? And how is he going to survive this world when his mouth is a loaded cannon, firing nothing but truth? Sunny was finally in a hot shower. 3 days out cold, strapped to some medical apparatus, and he still reeked of nightmare. They called it psychological, the scent of bloodshed and despair clinging to you, but some things, they just don't wash off. Not ever. Another nightmare, another scar. It never ends. He's in heaven, he thinks, trying to forget the little problem of the flaw looming over his head like a goddamn guillotine. Alone in the police station showers, just hot water and the echo of ghosts. When he finally turns it off, he catches his reflection. And wouldn't you know it, he's still not exactly a picture of masculine handsomeness. Leaner, healthier, but still, as he bitterly puts it, a flower boy. Survival's not living, it's enduring. Then it happens. His shadow in the mirror moves, lowers its head, quietly facepalms. The MC spins around, the paranoia kicking in, but it's just his shadow, mimicking him perfectly. He asks it if it moved. It enthusiastically shakes its head. What the hell? He confronts it, calls it out, and the shadow shrugs. This is it, folks. This is the aspect ability. The golden finger. And it's a sentient shadow that can facepalm and shrug. This kid's luck, I swear. He tries to talk to it, asks it what it can do. Silence. Obviously, it doesn't have vocal cords. Never mind that it doesn't have muscles either, but still shrugged. Logic, right? Who needs it when you've got existential horror? He realizes the shadow is part of him. A new sense blooms, like discovering a sixth limb made of pure absence. He can feel the shadows around him, and this one, his shadow, is like a piece of his soul. He wills it to move. It moves. He wills it to turn into a monster. It turns into a monster. This thing is mercurial, fluid like water. Ha, he thinks. How about that? The shadow pouts, then gives a reluctant thumbs up. Affectionate sarcasm, anyone? But then comes the real test. How are you useful? He wills it to strike the towel rack. It kicks and passes right through, harmlessly. The image of shadow tentacles tearing a mighty tyrant to pieces shatters right there. No shadow god for our boy Sunny. Not yet, anyway. The shadow, clearly offended by his low expectations, just stops moving altogether. A few minutes later, he's in a police tracksuit, wolfing down synthetic gruel in the cafeteria. Not exactly the lavish meal he expected after surviving a nightmare. Just food. He catches himself thinking dark, ironic thoughts about his luck, about how this would be the perfect moment for Master Jet to ask what he's thinking. And wouldn't you know it, she does. The flaw kicks in, forcing him to speak the truth, the raw, unfiltered, embarrassing truth. The real monsters? They're the ones you carry inside. Jet offers him free psychological counseling. For the trauma. He shakes his head. Us outskirt rats are way more resilient, she says, and he realizes she's one of them. Someone who climbed out of the same pit. Someone who survived. How many like them among the awakened? She says they can be counted on one hand. Some things you never come back from. So, what's next for our weary MC? He can party until the lights go out, or he can go to the Awakened Academy. Get some free food, free lodging, and meet the poor souls who'll be entering the dream realm with him. Some might be companions. Others? Well, others might just try to end his life once they're inside the spell. The flaw is silent this time because he hasn't made up his mind. But honestly, free food and a roof over his head? The choice is pretty obvious, isn't it? What do you think? Will the Academy be the next nightmare for Sunny? He was standing in front of the Awakened Academy's colossal, fortress-like gates. This wasn't just a school. It was a city within a city, a steel behemoth designed to repel even the most monstrous nightmare creatures. Forget the romanticized webtoons and dramas. This place wasn't about youthful heroics and love triangles. This was a temporary holding pen, a 4-week crash course before the real nightmare began. And Sunny? He was here to learn one thing, how to survive. Every second inside these walls was precious, a finite resource. No time for nonsense, as he puts it. The snow fell, silent, mirroring the heady quiet before a storm. Only one other soul shared the oppressive anticipation. A tall, slender girl, silver-haired, detached, lost in her own world of music. Sunny, ever the survivalist, avoided interaction. He'd learned the hard way that his flaw was a liability, a weakness that could be exploited. Better to be a lone wolf than to expose a vulnerability. He wondered, though, what her flaw was. It's a fundamental question in this world. What hidden weakness does your potential ally, or enemy, carry? Then the gates groaned open. Massive, reinforced metal slowly descended, forming a bridge, a path forward into the unknown. But before he stepped onto that path, Master Jet's parting words echoed in his mind, critical intel for the journey ahead. She'd given him 3 pieces of advice, born from the brutal reality of the outskirts, knowledge not gleaned from textbooks, but from raw, desperate survival. First, when the Academy offers psychological counseling, and a hefty reward in soul shards for sharing the details of your aspect and nightmare experience, refuse. Absolutely, unequivocally refuse. This isn't about mental health, it's about operational security. Rule porn. Your aspect is your OP ability, your cheat skill. The less anyone knows about it, the better. Especially your flaw. Jet put it bluntly. Once you're powerful enough, humans become as dangerous as nightmare creatures. And the easiest way to take down a powerful awakened? Exploit their flaw. Think of it. The government might not leak it, but secrets shared are secrets lost. This wasn't paranoia, it was a tactical imperative. Second, forget all the fancy combat courses, the monster classifications, the sorcery, the artifact studies. You have 4 weeks, tops. The only course that matters? Wilderness survival. This is survival stripped to the bone. City kids might know how to fight monsters, but out in the dream realm, the elements will kill you faster than any beast if you don't know how to make fire, procure food, or find shelter. Sunny, to his credit, understood immediately. The cold nearly killed him in his first nightmare, not some grand monster. This isn't about power. It's about primal, fundamental endurance. And finally, the third piece of advice, delivered with a chilling finality: no one survives in the dream realm alone. That's not an opinion, that's a fact. Get along with your peers, even the ones who rub you the wrong way. Your life might depend on it. This is a cold, hard truth. Human connection, no matter how fragile, is a vital resource in a world designed to isolate and destroy you. As the metal bridge locked into place with a series of loud clicks, Sunny knew this wasn't going to be easy. Keep his flaw secret, master wilderness survival, and somehow find a way to cooperate with others. Simple, right? But the grim determination on his face, a stark contrast to the silver-haired girl who calmly stepped onto the bridge as if crossing a cart path, told a different story. He knew these next 4 weeks would be as brutal as his first nightmare, maybe even worse. What do you think is the most dangerous piece of advice Master Jet gave Sunny? The sleeper compound. A pristine, reinforced modern fortress, mostly underground, a stark contrast to the absolute chaos of the dream realm. You'd think this place would be a sanctuary, right? A place to finally catch a breath. Rule 1, never trust comfort. Comfort kills. For Sunny, walking into that induction ceremony was like stepping into another nightmare, completely unprepared. Picture it, 100 or so young men and women, all primped, prepped, and packing suitcases. They look like they just stepped out of a luxury catalog, probably dropped off by their adoring families. And then there's our boy, Sunny, and the silver-haired girl, both in police-issued rags, empty-handed. Talk about an immediate red flag. He's already an anomaly, a glitch in their perfect system. But the real threat? It wasn't the lack of gear or the pristine walls. It was the people. The excited, chattering, endlessly curious young sleepers. For Sunny, a man who's faced down monsters and demigods, this was the ultimate psychological torture. A room full of teenagers who just wanted to talk. Every step was a potential social landmine. He can't afford to waste a single breath. This is survival stripped to the bone. And what did our MC do? He went full goblin mode. In half an hour, he'd managed to alienate practically everyone, calling people pompous fools, asking to see someone without their enchanted robe, openly admitting to taking a dead man's boots and cloak. This isn't just being rude, folks. This is a tactic, a desperate high-risk play to achieve total social isolation. He got slapped, punched, and ended up with a bloody nose, but he was smiling. Because in that chaotic, painful process, Sunny discovered his golden finger, his flaw. The inability to lie and the compulsion to speak the truth wasn't just a debilitating weakness. It was an OP ability waiting to be mastered. He learned that while he couldn't stop the truth from coming out, he could influence its wording, twisting it just enough to be technically truthful but utterly misleading. It's like having a cheat code for reality itself. The pain of resisting the initial, raw truth, a small price to pay for such a potent weapon. Think about it. Instead of blurting out he was staring at Master Jet's curves, he could endure the pain and simply say, "You." Still true, but the impact is entirely different. This isn't just a survival skill, it's a masterclass in psychological warfare. Because sometimes, the truth, when delivered with a devious intelligence, is the most effective lie. He weaponized his own constraint. His ultimate goal? To make sure no one, ever, discovers his true name. To achieve that, he needs to appear utterly pathetic, weak, and completely undeserving of any divine favor. But how do you convince someone you're weak when you can't lie about your own strength? He found his mark, a tall, confident young man, radiating nobility and strength, who just humbly confessed to receiving an ascended aspect with an excellent appraisal. This guy is practically begging for a face-slapping moment, and Sunny delivered. He sauntered over, looked this paragon of virtue up and down, and with a voice dripping with utter bewilderment, he dropped the bomb. Ascended? Excellent? That's it? What's the big deal? That was a high-risk move, but sometimes risk is the only way out. He's not just making enemies, he's crafting a legend of ineptitude. But will this audacious, calculated risk pay off? Or has he just painted a target on his back? His words hung heavy, a challenge thrown into a room full of unsuspecting marks. The sleepers, these fresh recruits, looked at Sunny with a mix of bewilderment and outright shock. But the real threat in the room, Castor, the young man with the deceptively humorous eyes, just kept smiling. And that smile? That's the smile of a predator. See, getting an ascended aspect in the first nightmare is rare. It screams prodigy, potential threat. And Castor? He's got that look, that calculating coldness Sunny calls murder math. It's the kind of mindset where, no matter the situation, a part of their brain is running the kill efficiency algorithms on everyone in the room. This isn't just about power, it's about intent. Then comes the kicker. Castor is a legacy. Not just some random talented kid, but a descendant of an awakened clan, bred for the spell from birth. This changes everything. His excellent appraisal, while good, is now seen as underwhelming for someone with such a privileged background. And Sunny? He just stepped in it, deep. But here's where the nightmare survival analyst sees a flicker of genius. Sunny, instead of backing down, leans in. He doubles down on the antagonism, putting on a show of utter contempt. This is a high-risk move, but sometimes risk is the only way out. He lets their hostility simmer, then drops the bombshell. His appraisal was glorious, and his aspect, divine. Now, picture this. He's telling the absolute, unvarnished truth. But because no one has ever heard of a divine aspect, they think he's a lunatic. It's a masterclass in psychological warfare. He's using truth as a weapon of misdirection. He then drives the nail in further, declaring himself an outskirt rat. No training, pure street. This cements the image, not a hidden genius, but a delusional, unhinged braggart. Castor, ever the calculating one, asks for achievements. Sunny, with every, costing him a jolt of pain from the spell, spins tales that are technically true but sound utterly insane. Killed an awakened tyrant. Didn't even lift a finger, just spat. He spat blood on the altar. Shadow God did the work. True, but sounds like a lie. Killed an awakened swordsman. Had to lift a finger, even shake it a couple times. He was holding the silver bell, leading to Hero's demise. True, but ludicrous. Communicated with a bunch of dead gods, woke one up, got a blessing. All true, but who'd believe it? The sleepers laugh, call him insane, pathetic. They pity him. And that, my friends, is exactly what Sunny wants. He's weaponized his own truth, turning it into the most unbelievable lie possible. He's created a mental shield, a psychological camouflage. No one will ever suspect he has a true name or a divine aspect, because they'll just remember the crazy kid who claimed he killed a tyrant by spitting. He walks away, feeling smug. Job well done. But then, Castor's chillingly calm voice cuts through the air. Poor kid must have lost his mind. He'll most likely die soon, so being kind is the least I can do. That's the real gut punch, isn't it? Even after all that tactical genius, the cold, hard reality of the dream realm reminds you, underestimation is a double-edged sword. Sunny might have fooled them, but in the brutal world they're about to enter, the odds are still stacked against everyone. What do you think of Sunny's audacious gamble? Was it a brilliant move, or did he just paint a target on his back by drawing attention to himself, even if it was negative attention? Satisfied with his performance, Sunny retreated to the deserted corner. He could feel the eyes on him, a cocktail of mockery, contempt, and pity. Classic. An MC who just got appraised, probably with some kind of debuff, is basically a walking red flag in this world. But was their reaction a little extra? He wasn't carrying an infectious disease. Well, not unless you count the spell itself. He finally broke free of the swirling mass of nervous sleepers and reached the corner, and that's where he saw her. A quiet girl, delicate, demure, porcelain doll pretty, sitting alone. But rule 1, never trust comfort. Comfort kills. There was something off. He squinted, trying to pinpoint it. Then it hit him like a cold shower, that empty, expressionless stare. It was the same look he'd seen on a nightmare creature. This girl was blind. Took him a moment to process. He sat down, a little disheartened. What a brutal twist of fate. She couldn't have been blind before this spell, or she wouldn't have even survived the first nightmare. Which means her sight was her flaw. Think about that for a second. In a world where every shadow could be a killer, where sound and movement are your only friends, she's lost her most vital sense. His own flaw, whatever it was, suddenly felt a lot less devastating. This wasn't just a disadvantage. This was a death sentence. She wasn't just a sleeper, she was a walking corpse. Her odds? Slim. But he's still standing, and so is she. For now. Suddenly, the whole hall clicked into place. People weren't avoiding the corner because they were superstitious. They were avoiding her. She was surrounded by an invisible, but almost palpable, aura of finality. And then, he saw the pattern. The sleepers had instinctively sorted themselves. Up near the stage, the elite. The legacies. Trained since birth, confident, calm. These are the ones with the golden finger of inherited knowledge. The ones who had a head start. Castor, in particular, stood out. Next, the wealthy scions, well-trained, a bit excited, maybe a little nervous. They had the funds for private tutors, even awakened ones. They've got resources. Then, the vast middle class, government-educated, tense, nervous. They'd need to put in a valiant effort and have a hell of a lot of luck. Their survival is improbable, but not impossible. And then there was Sunny. And the blind girl. The corpses. From the perspective of everyone else in this hall, their chances were close to zero. How, Charming? The only outlier? The silver-haired girl leaning against the wall, eyes closed, lost in her music. Indifferent. An OP character in the making, or just someone who's already checked out. The waiting game was grating on everyone's nerves. Sunny was ready for the induction ceremony to just start. And as if on cue, a giant of a man, awakened rock, stepped onto the stage. Broad shoulders, a magnificent beard. This guy looked like he could wrestle a nightmare creature to the ground with one hand. When his gaze swept over their corpse corner, Sunny briefly worried his internal monologue about his mother and bears might be telepathically transmitted. But Rock moved on, and his voice boomed. "Sleepers, welcome to the Academy." He wasted no time. "In less than a month, you will be summoned to the dream realm. Some of you think you're prepared. You're wrong. The spell is merciless and cunning. Awakened die. Masters die. Even saints are not assured to survive." Sunny couldn't help but think, gee, thanks for the pep talk. But this wasn't about encouragement. This was about survival. Rock was laying down the hard truth. The responsibility to survive is yours, and yours alone. He was stripping away every false comfort, every crutch these kids might have. He was telling them that in the dream realm, you are your only resource. And he was right. Fear is a nasty emotion, but it's a powerful motivator. It's what keeps you sharp. It's what keeps you alive. He paused, letting the fear sink in. Then he continued, "Now we will talk about the difference between nightmares and the dream realm. What do you think is fear, a tool or a trap when you're facing down death?" Sunny was keenly interested. This wasn't just a history lesson. This was intel. Pure, unadulterated, life-saving intel, straight from someone who'd actually been there. You just know our MC is soaking up every single detail, separating the myths from the hard truths of the spell. Awakened Rock didn't waste time, jumping straight into the distinctions. The first nightmare? Individual. One creature, one chance. Fail, and that monster crosses the threshold into reality. That's why Master Jet had to babysit our boy, ready to throw down if a beast popped out of Sunny's closet. But starting with the second nightmare, things get wild. These aren't tied to an infected person. They're born in the dream realm itself. Any number of awakened can try to conquer them, and if they fail, if the seed matures, then a gate opens. And folks, you know what that means. Countless monsters, real-world destruction, and the kind of chaos that makes a rank 5 gate turn a whole continent uninhabitable. The awakened aren't just adventurers. They're the last line of defense, shutting down these existential threats before they even begin. So, the dream realm isn't the nightmare itself, but the road to it. A vast, mysterious, and mostly unexplored road, and here's where it gets fascinating. It's dead. No life, just nightmare creatures and corrupted ecosystems. But it wasn't always dead. Ancient civilizations, focused on mysticism and soul cores rather than tech, once thrived there. Were they destroyed by the spell? Did they simply fade into the mists of time? Nobody knows. But the illusions in the nightmares? They're replicas of these past events, somehow reconstructed from the depths of time. So that slave caravan, that mountain king, they were real once upon a time. Our boy Sonny is wondering if that nameless temple slave, the one who gave him his golden finger, truly perished. You gotta wonder, right? If the spell remembered him, there has to be something more. Now, for the critical differences between the dream realm and the nightmares. Listen up. This is where the strategy gets real. First, the dream realm has no story, no predetermined conflict. You can move freely, explore. Sounds good, right? Except for our MC, whose fated attribute practically guarantees he'll stumble into trouble even if he's just trying to grab a sandwich. That freedom is relative, folks. Second, no people in the dream realm except those from the real world. Only monsters. But some of them can mimic human appearance. Hold up. What? Sonny's sweating bullets, and so are we. Why wasn't this common knowledge? Why didn't he know? The legacy's in the front row, though. Not a flicker of surprise. They knew. This is the kind of class-segregated intel that can get you killed if you're not in the know. Talk about a brutal wake-up call. Third, if you die in the dream realm, no nightmare creatures appear in the real world. Cruel, but logical. The awakened forces are spread thin enough without having to babysit every sleeper for weeks on end. Efficiency over bravado, remember? And fourth, and most importantly, unlike nightmares, which are bound by rules of fairness, where the spell won't pit a dormant human against an opponent many ranks above them, the dream realm has no such restrictions. Oh, really? Sonny sneers internally, remembering how Hero and Mountain King were still only one rank above him. But here, you could stumble upon an unholy titan and be dust before you even realize what hit you. The gloves are off. This isn't a trial. It's a fight for survival in the true sense. Awakened Rock's advice? Stick to regions with enemies on par with your rank. Sonny's plan? Stick to regions with enemies below his rank. Smart move. Leverage every advantage. The Solstice is coming, and they'll be drawn into the dream realm. Location is unpredictable, but there's a high chance many will appear close together. The strategy is clear. Band together. Find a human citadel. These are built around gateways, special portals that are your ticket back to reality, your core evolution, your second aspect ability. If no citadel is in sight, find an unclaimed gateway, defeat its guardians, and fight your way back. Sonny sighs. His luck? He's either going to spawn directly into a bustling human citadel and practically roll into a gateway, or he's going to drop into some remote, God-forsaken hellhole of the dream realm that no one's ever returned from. Given his track record, which one do you think it's going to be? He quickly found the dormitories, nestled deep in the lowest levels. And what did our boy Sonny walk into? Not some cramped bunk, not a communal sleeping pod, but his own private slice of heaven. We're talking a soft mattress, a table, a dresser, even a separate bathroom. New materials, crisp air, a hidden screen mimicking a snowy park vista, and free clothes with the Academy emblem. Now, for a kid who grew up on the fringes, scraping by, this isn't just a room, this is a recovery zone. This is a resource hub. This is where the psychological strain of the nightmare starts to ease, where his body can finally begin to repair itself. But here's the thing. Rule 1, never trust comfort. Comfort kills. Is this a respite, or is it a gilded cage designed to make him soft? He's thinking, have I made it? His shadow, the ultimate pragmatist, probably just yawned. What would a stupid shadow know about the value of a clean bed after a near-death experience? After shedding his old rags for the Academy threads, Sonny finally had a moment to inspect his new OP ability, the Puppeteer's Shroud. And let me tell you, the lore on this thing? Chef's kiss creepy. A worm of doubt devouring a king from the inside, leaving behind a cocoon of black silk. Sonny's reaction? Not terrifying at all. Yeah, right. This isn't just a cool origin story. It's a terrifying glimpse into the nightmare creatures he just battled. What does a fully matured puppeteer worm even turn into? Don't think about it, Sonny. Survival requires focus. He summons the shroud. Thin, black threads, dark gray fabric, lusterless leather. Light, understated, silent. Perfect equipment for someone who likes to lurk in the shadows. This isn't just fashion, folks. This is a tactical advantage. Tough against dormant monsters? Check. Doesn't restrain movement? Check. And the kicker? A strange, faint calmness. This implies enhanced protection against mental attacks. This isn't just armor. This is a psychological shield. That's a golden finger moment right there. A top-tier memory from a powerful tyrant. The only downside? Not designed to be worn over clothes. A small price to pay for such a significant buff. Then, it's off to the cafeteria. And if the dorms were a palace, the cafeteria was a feast. Unlimited meat, rice, bread, fresh vegetables, fruits, all kinds of delicious beverages. For a kid who thought a stale ration bar was a luxury, this is a resource explosion. He builds a small mountain of food, devours it like a starved wolf, and nearly melts from the sheer joy of real meat. This isn't just indulgence. This is fuel. This is rebuilding the physical reserves drained by his near-fatal ordeal. Every calorie is a building block for future survival. But even a feast has an end. It's time for his interview. He's already been warned by Master Jet about the psychological counseling, and he wisely refuses. Then come the questions about his aspect. This is a high-stakes information war. Does he reveal his power? Does he play it safe? He chooses the latter, giving vague, neutral answers. Not sure. I guess not. Wasn't even able to harm a towel. He's carefully crafting an image of weakness, a harmless utility user. This is a calculated risk to avoid unwanted attention, to keep his true potential a secret. Smart move, Sonny. In this world, knowledge is power, and hidden power is even stronger. Finally, he collapses onto his soft mattress, the first truly peaceful sleep after the nightmare. This isn't just rest, it's critical recovery. It's the body and mind patching themselves up, preparing for the next inevitable challenge. The next morning, energized, he heads back to the cafeteria. And who does he find? The blind girl from yesterday, Cassia. Everyone else avoids her like she's a walking death sentence. Sonny grimaces, but necessity dictates. They're both outcasts. Sometimes, the only company you have is the one no one else wants. Then, the commotion. A list on the screen, ranking the new sleepers from weakest to strongest. Sonny finds himself near the bottom, just above Cassia. But the real shocker? Castor is second. And right above him, at the very top, is the silver-haired girl, Nephis, true name, changing star. This isn't just a leaderboard, folks. This is a threat assessment. This is a power ranking for the coming struggles. And Nephis isn't just strong, she's terrifyingly strong. What kind of monster is she, indeed? How will Sonny navigate this new, dangerous hierarchy with his carefully hidden abilities? A silver-haired girl, Nephis, also scored a true name in her first nightmare. Think about that for a second. Our boy Sonny had to pull off a miracle, wrestling hero and mountain king with an aspect that was basically a liability just to get his. Her path? Still a mystery. That's a red flag right there. How did she make it look so effortless? The cafeteria full of sleepers went absolutely silent at the revelation. Astonishment, fear, admiration, the whole spectrum of human reaction. And Sonny? He's feeling that primal urge to shout, "Me too! I got one too, suckers!" But he holds it in. Smart move. In survival, information is a resource, and you don't just hand out your OP abilities for free. That's rule 1, never trust comfort. Comfort kills. And right now, comfort is the illusion of safety in this academy. Then his eyes lock onto Castor, the humorous young man, but his face is grim. And here's the kicker. Castor isn't staring at Nephis's true name. He's staring at her actual name, Nephis. Now that's a tactical clue. Do they know each other? Why would a lofty legacy like Castor have such a deep reaction to a girl who showed up in a police-issued tracksuit? This is a psychological puzzle. Is it a past connection, a future threat, a potential ally? Every interaction is a data point. Nephis herself? She's in the corner, chilling with a coffee, completely unfazed by the commotion. Her gray eyes are distant, serious. A high-value target who doesn't even flinch. That's either supreme confidence or a masterclass in emotional suppression. The cafeteria eventually breaks its silence. A sleeper with a true name? Impossible, someone whispers. Others debate, bringing up Smile of Heaven as a rare exception. Then someone, with the tactical brilliance of a lemming, suggests, "Why don't we just ask her?" The silence returns, deafening. Nobody wants to be the first to poke the bear. Finally, Castor, ever the bold one, steps forward. He bows. "Lady Nephis." "I am Castor from the Han Li clan." He addresses her as "Lady," introduces himself. This implies they don't know each other. Or does it? It's a formal approach, a probing maneuver. Nephis just shrugs, a bright smile. It is what it is. That's a classic non-answer. Pure misdirection. She shuts down the conversation without giving an inch. Sunny notes it all, but then his stomach rumbles. Priorities. Survival stripped to the bone means food first. The mysteries can wait until after breakfast. Later, Sunil finds his wilderness survival classroom. It's spacious, well-decorated, and completely empty. Except for awakened Julius, the instructor. An old man with messy hair and eyes that jump around. He's lively, calls Sunny a young man, and is clearly thrilled to have any student. Sunny introduces himself as Sunless. Julius loves it. Ominous. Good. We deal with ominous things. Turns out, Sunny is the only student. The brutes, as Julius calls them, are only interested in swinging swords. Sunny chose this course because Master Jet advised him. And that's when Julius practically does a double take. Soul Reaper Jet? That murderous savage? And here's where the intel drops. Jet, the Soul Reaper, isn't the most powerful, but she's one of the most feared. Why? Because her aspect abilities bypass physical defenses. They hit the soul core directly. No amount of armor, no damage resistance, no physical protection can stop her. This is a game changer of an OP ability. It's a direct counter to tank builds. Julius gossips that her problematic personality means she'll probably never become a saint. You need a team for the third nightmare, and who'd team up with a psychopathic killer. This is valuable intel for Sunny, who's just trying to survive. Knowing your potential allies and enemies and their weaknesses is crucial. Sunny reveals he's taking only wilderness survival for the next 4 weeks. Julius stares, then grins like a madman. Wonderful. You're such an astute young man. Don't you worry. In 4 whole weeks, I will make you immortal. And so, the training begins. Just an hour in, Sunny's head is exploding. So much counterintuitive knowledge for a city boy. Julius is patient, but the curriculum is insane. Theoretical knowledge, practical lessons in VR and the real world, and even dead dream realm languages. Sunny is baffled. The spell translates everything, right? Wrong. Julius is uncompromising. The spell isn't a perfect translator. If an inscription says certain death ahead, knowing the 30 different rune words for death can tell you what kind of death. That's a tactical advantage, a layer of information that could mean the difference between life and oblivion. This isn't just theory. It's the difference between walking into a kill zone and finding a safe path. Every step could be fatal. The first day pushes Sunny to his absolute limit. Mentally exhausted, he misses lunch and dinner. But even then, back in his room, he remembers his shadow. The one thing that might just be his golden finger. He grins. Let's see what you can really do. He's clearly got a plan brewing. But what exactly does he intend to do with that shadow? And how will it change his odds of survival? His shadow was more than just a silent follower. No, the spell had called it an invaluable helper. And in a world where every single advantage could mean the difference between breathing and becoming monster chow, Sunny was already on the clock to figure out exactly what kind of cheat skill he'd just stumbled upon. See, there's this instinctual understanding, deep in your gut, about your aspect. It's either the spell whispering directly into your subconscious, or it's just hardwired into every awakened. Whatever it is, Sunny tapped into it. He focused, he commanded, and with every simple motion, controlling that shadow became as natural as breathing. Like another limb. A silent, unfeeling extension of his will. But then, the real test. He gave a new command. And his shadow, It separated from him, walked to the other side of the room, turned around, and just stared at him. A slightly mocking silence. The MC was left without a shadow. Talk about an existential crisis. This isn't science, he thought. And he's right. This is the spell. And the spell operates on its own set of rules, usually designed to make you question your sanity. That's when it hit him. A split in perception. One source, his own body. The other, his shadow. And when he focused on that second source, whoa! His vision blurred, then shifted. Suddenly, he was seeing his room from the shadow's perspective. He could see himself sitting there wide-eyed. This isn't just a parlor trick, folks. This is information warfare. He could perceive the world through his shadow. Combine this with his see child of shadows attribute, letting him see and move stealthily in darkness, and his newly minted shadow control. He just unlocked the ultimate spy package. A spy gathers intel without risking their neck. And that, my friends, is Sonny's entire life philosophy. He's not looking for a fair fight. He's looking for the exit strategy. He's looking for the weakness. And with this, he could be a masterful ambusher, striking from the shadows with surgical, lethal precision. But direct confrontation? No thanks. His aspect still isn't boosting his combat stats. Smart man. Rule 1, don't pick a fight you can't win. Or better yet, don't pick one at all. So, the test began. The shadow slid under the door, a stealth scout in the making, and Sonny was there, seeing everything, gliding from shadow to shadow, practically invisible. He even eavesdropped on some sleepers. Not interesting enough. This is survival stripped to the bone, and gossip isn't a resource. Then, the crossroads, elevators to the left, girls' dormitory to the right. And for a split second, our MC almost made a rookie mistake. Almost let the primal urges get the better of him. But he pulled back. Not because of high morals, mind you, but because of his reputation as a pervert, the sheer probability of being asked about it. This is calculating risks, people. This is survival by avoiding unnecessary social entanglement. He needs plausible deniability. Good call, Sonny. Distraction kills. So, the shadow went to the elevators, and then to the dojo. He was observing the combat class, testing their general competency. Everyone was punching a special measuring machine. Most people were hitting between 10 and 14. Good. Some with enhancing aspects were hitting 15, 16. Sonny figured he'd hit 10 or 11. That's realistic self-appraisal. Knowing your limits is a key survival trait. Then, Nephis, the changing star, the highest-rated sleeper. She approached. No wasted motion, just a sudden crushing blow. 16. Sonny was almost disappointed. Expected more from a true name. But then Castor. Oh, Castor, you couldn't even see to punch. Too fast. The machine trembled. And then, the number, 21. Everyone was stunned. 21. That's not just strength. That's a statement. That's an OP ability right there. Instructor Rock then called for sparring, and Nephis stepped up. The first guy was a tank. Muscles bulging, advancing like an unstoppable mountain. A vicious kick. A second later, he was on the floor, dumbstruck. Nephis hadn't even changed her stance. What followed? A massacre. One after another, she took them all down. She didn't seem faster or stronger, but every single opponent, whether poor, rich, or even at legacy, ended up beaten and thrown. Like clockwork, she moved with the calm precision of a battle machine. Clean, graceful, ruthless. She predicted, reacted, deflected, and turned every attack against her opponent with minimal effort. Her expression? Unchanged. Like she was made of metal. This is the kind of opponent who doesn't just beat you, they dismantle you. This is the kind of threat that makes you question your humanity. Sonny felt it. Is she even human? He wondered. And then, the critical tactical thought. What if she becomes an enemy? The best course of action? Run. Or, better yet, never antagonize her in the first place. Smart. Pick your battles, or better yet, avoid them if the odds are stacked against you. Finally, Castor was the last one remaining, the guy who hit 21. He stepped into the ring, a soft smile on his lips. He bowed. Lady Nephis, please excuse me in advance. And then, Sonny opened his eyes in shock. What could possibly make the Nightmare Survival Analyst's MC react like that? What do you think Castor is about to pull out of his sleeve?